A special sheep is born. In a peaceful meadow where fluffy white sheep roamed freely, a little black sheep named Luno was born. The other lambs had soft wool as white as clouds, but Luno's coat was dark as the night sky. From the moment he took his first steps, Luno knew he was different, but the biggest surprise came when he tried to make a sound. "Baa," said the other lambs. "Baa," echoed the adults. Luno opened his mouth and tried to join in, but all that came out was, "Meep." The other lambs stopped and stared. "That's not how you're supposed to sound," one of them giggled. Luno's ears drooped. He tried again. "Meep." The older sheep exchanged glances, whispering among themselves, "A sheep that can't say baa. That's odd." Luno didn't understand why he was different, but he wished he could sound like everyone else. Maybe if he tried hard enough, he would learn. But no matter how many times he practiced, the only sound that ever came out was, "Meep." Trying to fit in. Determined to be like the others, Luno tried everything he could think of. He stood in front of a mirror and practiced, "Baa, baa." But when he opened his mouth, it was always, "Meep." He even tried eating different grass, thinking maybe his voice would change, but no matter what, he still couldn't say baa. The other lambs started to tease him. "Maybe you're not a real sheep." They laughed. Luno's heart sank. He wanted to belong so badly. So, he tried something else. He stayed silent. If he didn't make a sound, no one would notice he was different. Maybe, just maybe, they would forget. For days, Luno didn't speak, but inside, he felt lonelier than ever. Then one evening, an old sheep named Sage, known for his wisdom, approached him. "Why are you so quiet, little one?" Sage asked gently. Luno hesitated before whispering, "Because I don't sound like the others. I just want to be normal." Sage smiled. "Normal? What is normal, little one? Every sheep is unique in their own way. Maybe your voice is special, even if it's different." Luno wasn't sure he believed that yet, but Sage's words gave him a little hope. The lonely walk. One morning, while the other lambs played, Luno wandered away from the flock, his head full of questions. He reached a quiet hill where the wind whistled gently through the grass. Sitting down, he sighed. "Why can't I just be like everyone else?" Suddenly, a soft voice replied, "Because the world needs all kinds of voices." Luno turned and saw a small brown bird perched on a rock. "What do you mean?" he asked. The bird fluffed its feathers. "Look around you. The cows moo, the dogs bark, and I chirp. No one sounds the same, yet we all belong." Luno thought about that. It was true, not everything sounded alike. "But I'm the only sheep that can't say baa," Luno said sadly. The bird smiled. "Then maybe you were never meant to sound like the others. Maybe you have a voice of your own." Luno had never thought about it that way. Could it really be possible? A dangerous encounter. Just as Luno was deep in thought, a rustling sound came from the bushes nearby. A pair of glowing eyes appeared. A fox. Luno's heart pounded. He had wandered too far from the flock. The fox stepped closer, licking its lips. "A little lost sheep all alone." The fox sneered. "What a lucky day for me." Luno wanted to cry for help, but what good was his voice? He couldn't even say baa like the others. Then he remembered what the bird had said. "Maybe you were never meant to sound like the others. Maybe you have a voice of your own." Taking a deep breath, Luno let out the loudest "meep" he could. The sound echoed across the meadow. Birds flew from the trees. The fox, startled by the strange noise, hesitated. Then, before the fox could react, a group of sheep, led by Sage, came rushing toward them. The fox, now outnumbered, growled and slinked away into the forest. Luno was safe, and for the first time, he didn't hate his voice. A hero's welcome. Back at the meadow, the other lambs surrounded Luno, their eyes wide. "That was incredible," one of them said. "You scared off a fox all by yourself." Another added, Sage stepped forward. "And you did it by using your own voice, not by trying to be like everyone else." Luno smiled. He had spent so long trying to fit in that he never realized his difference was his strength. The other lambs no longer teased him. Instead, they listened when he spoke, fascinated by his unique sound. And for the first time, Luno felt proud of who he was. Embracing uniqueness. After the fox incident, something changed in the meadow. The other sheep, who once teased Luno for his strange voice, now looked at him with admiration. Luno no longer felt embarrassed when he opened his mouth. Instead of hiding his meep, he used it proudly. Whenever he spoke, the other lambs giggled, not in mockery, but because they genuinely enjoyed the cheerful sound. His voice, once a source of shame, became a symbol of uniqueness. It was something that set him apart in a good way. Luno also realized that he wasn't the only one who felt different. A lamb with curly wool had always been shy about her appearance. Another lamb with shorter legs struggled to keep up when the flock ran. Seeing Luno embrace his difference gave them the courage to accept their own. Slowly, the meadow became a place where every sheep felt comfortable being themselves. Luno's meep became more than just a sound. It became a reminder that differences are what make us special. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, Luno stood tall and let out a loud meep. For the first time, he felt proud of exactly who he was. A gift to share. One day, a group of young lambs approached Luno, their eyes filled with curiosity and excitement. "Can you teach us how to meep like you?" one of them asked eagerly. Luno laughed. "I don't know if you can, but we can try." The little lambs lined up, puffed out their chests, and tried their best to copy him. Some sounded close, others just made silly noises, but all of them had fun. Luno watched them with joy. He had spent so long wishing he was like everyone else, and now others wanted to be like him. The older sheep, who once doubted him, smiled as they watched. Who would have thought that the sound we once found strange would bring so much happiness? Luno had once believed his difference was a burden, but now he realized it was a gift, something he could share with the world. That night, as he lay beneath the stars, he smiled to himself. Maybe he wasn't meant to sound like the others. Maybe he was meant to teach others to celebrate their own uniqueness. A new song. As the days passed, Luno's meep became a sound of joy in the meadow. One evening, under a sky painted with golden hues, the flock gathered together. Sage, the wise old sheep, stood before them. "Tonight," he announced, "we celebrate something special, not just Luno's courage, but the lesson he has taught us all. Being different is a gift." Then, to everyone's surprise, Sage lifted his head and let out a loud meep. The entire flock burst into laughter. One by one, the other sheep joined in, each trying their own version of meep. The melody is filled with different tones and pitches, blending into a beautiful, funny, and heartwarming melody. Luno's heart swelled with happiness. He had spent so long trying to fit in, but now, his voice had become a song the whole flock wanted to sing. That night, as the sheep lay down to sleep, the meadow was filled with the echoes of joyful meeps, and for the first time, Luno knew his voice truly belonged. A lesson for all. News of Luno spread beyond the meadow. Other flocks in nearby fields heard about the little black sheep who couldn't say Baaa. Some were skeptical, others were curious. One day, a group of young lambs from another flock came to visit. They watched Luno in awe. "We heard you have a special voice," one of them said. "Can you show us?" Luno smiled. Instead of feeling nervous, he stood proudly and let out his signature meep. The young lambs giggled with delight. "That's amazing," one of them exclaimed. The older sheep from other flocks, who had once believed all sheep should sound the same, exchanged glances. Maybe they had been wrong all along. Sage stepped forward and addressed the visitors. "We used to think only one voice mattered," he said. But thanks to Luno, we've learned that the world is more beautiful when everyone's voice is heard. From that day on, no sheep was ever teased for being different again. Instead, they were celebrated, because differences didn't make them weaker, they made them stronger. A voice like no other. As the seasons changed and the meadow flourished, Luno continued to grow, not just in size, but in confidence and happiness. One night, as he lay under a sky full of twinkling stars, he thought about how much had changed. He had once been a lonely little lamb, wishing to sound like everyone else, but now, he was grateful for his unique voice. He understood something that took him a long time to learn. True belonging doesn't come from being the same, it comes from being yourself. As the cool night breeze swept across the meadow, Luno let out a loud, proud meep, and somewhere in the distance, the wind seemed to whisper back. If you loved this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more magical bedtime tales. Good night, little dreamers.